Alrighty then, it's time for Platinum Xin Zhao. Yay! Which one? So I don't have many Xin Zhao games, which was what makes this valuable. Basic 2. So attack damage red, armor yellow, magic resistance scaling blues, and attack damage quints. My masteries are 9, 21, 0. Obviously getting the armor pen from the offensive runes. Anyways, if you saw this on stream, the beginning of the game is not so clean. Very not clean. You'll be surprised as to how we come back, but it should make sense. Both team comps are actually not that bad. My team doesn't have any direct initiation, but has a lot of ways to make me into an initiator, using Oriana or Kennen. The Oriana ball will help us initiate in some way or some form, either him or me, while the enemy team has a direct form of initiation from Jarvan and amazing follow-up from Brand and Renekton. So here's the first quote-unquote gank. I run in there. I get sped up. I go with E, Q, and I tank way too many tower shots. I get blown the fuck up by Brand, and then I just get killed by Jarvan with that double blow. Okay, so that is a terrible start. I lost my double buff. Jarvan picked up a kill, no? Or no, Brand got 2 kills, including first blood. I have no double buffs, and Jarvan got some farms. Now he's going to be ahead of me. So this is going to be an issue. Go back mid. I just give him a ward because I know Jarvan would want to gank from this direction. And as you can see, Jarvan shows up and essentially says, "Yeah, Stella was right." Jarvan goes down bottom for a little bit. Well, no, then he comes back up mid. The ward there will protect my Oriana as long as she pays attention to it. Unfortunately, I'm still behind, and Xin Zhao, who is supposed to be a really powerful ganker, cannot get behind. He's kind of a sort of feast or famine, or don't get too fucked up or you'll lose. So Renekton has no ward, and it was very easy to just pretty much sneak up on him. Though, what's his face? Kennen gets really hurt fighting Renekton and eventually dies. Fortunately, I pick up the kill, and I'm able to take all this lane farm, which will help me recover from being fucked up early. So people have asked me, when would you actually want to pick Xin Zhao? Well, Xin Zhao is a pseudo jungle initiator, tank, and damage dealer. He deals really good damage in duels and in ganks, so he can supply the damage all on his own. His ganks are also pretty lethal thanks to his his dash, and followed by his knockup. He gets a lot of damage in just pretty much auto-attacking them. Why would you pick him though? It's when your team doesn't have laners that will provide a lot of damage or crowd control. With that said, Xin Zhao provides it all by himself. So, too long didn't read. You need a jungler with damage, get strong ganking, and hopefully can transition into a tanky initiator. Well, pseudo-initiator in this case. He does not work well as the only initiator in your team. You need either somebody else who can supplement his initiation or initiate alongside with him, or initiate before he goes in. In this case, I have Oriana. The Oriana ball pretty much makes almost any jungler, or any character for that matter, that has a dive ability into a proper initiator. Kennen will obviously be the one who follows me right after my initiations. So here goes the gank on, what's his face? Brand, as easy as it can be, dive in, get bashed. Jarvan tries to fight me. He could have killed me, except, I escape using my E. Here's one thing is, I already explained that Xin Zhao is a great fighter. Deals damage and has strong ganks. But that would be a combination for a very strong jungler, wouldn't it? So what are his weaknesses? What are his flaws? His biggest flaw currently is that he kind of has to snowball a little bit in order to contribute to the match. He's a jungler that needs levels. Well, you just saw that fair. He's a jungler that needs levels, some items, not too many items, and really tends to be the focus of everybody in fights. So he can't build damage, okay? So unless you get super fed, you can't build damage unless you will die. So If you build damage, you're ridiculously expensive. If you build defense, then of course you sacrifice some of your damage for later into the game. And you won't do as much aside from initiation and hopefully sticking to a target. I mean, though that's the purpose. So that's not exactly a weakness. His weakness comes in that he needs items to do both. To do both. Even the cheapo items, they have to be completed before he can actually do that without much of an issue. The cheapo items, in this case, Spirit of the Ancient Golem and Locket. Without items, he will die ridiculously quickly. So in skirmishes, early skirmishes, he 3 people. If he gets focused, he tends to drop really fast. If he's allowed to, if he survives the first volley, he has a good chance of wrecking people's faces and everything. But until he gets items, he's surprisingly easy to kill, aside from having really high damage. Much of this comes from the fact that his E is an engagement tool, but an engagement tool that gets him right into the fight, and he has no other escapes or defensive steroids until he gets his ultimate. However, his ultimate, while a pseudo-initiation tool and grants him a good defensive steroid, if used improperly, will pretty much fuck up a team fight. So it has to be used carefully, or has to be used in a pick. Jump in, throw everybody off, and hopefully burst that one guy down. So he's got uses, though, some obtuse uses, uniquer uses with his ultimate. I would personally use him in solo queue because he carries hard if he does well. If you're a person who's experienced and knows, where to be and how to show and when to show up and how to stalk targets, then he'll be a really strong pick. He deals ridiculously high damage without any items, though he tends to explode earlier in focus, as I mentioned earlier. And he has a lot of control of the battlefield when it comes to ganking. He does pretty much wane because he needs levels if you get fucked over. So that's a pretty big risk if your teammates can't help you out or won't let you text their lanes just a little bit. In this case right here, Caitlyn was getting too close to the bushes. I knew she did not have ward here, so I just waited there until they showed up to farm it again and easily picked them off. As you can see, I could stick to targets insanely well, especially for the fact that I had red buff. Another item that you could get on Xin Zhao in order to increase his ganking potential by a tenfold is the new Phage. He's an auto attack champion, and he tends to like to kill targets. It's kind of unless you carefully avoid using your abilities, you will most of the time end up killing a target, and thus you'll get the Phage bonus. By the way, Phage would be really good on him. In this case, though, the enemy's damage is rather focused on a few characters, and they don't really have that high amount, too much damage aside from Brand's explosive power, and then the kiting power of Caitlyn. Oh yeah, watch this. This is a gank. Put in the ward first, so the Renekton could not juke me or get a surprise attack on me. I E towards a minion and use my ultimate to knock him back. And after that, we just proceed to kill him, stab him. He's going to try to dash over the wall, but it won't. My Orianna will follow him and kill him. So here's what happened in that gank. My passive adds a debuff called Challenge. Any challenged character cannot be knocked back with my ultimate. However, dashing to another target or using an ability on another target causes the challenge debuff to change to another target. Well, the target you ended up using the ability on. So I'd used E on the minion, thus causing the challenge to go on that minion and allowing me to knock back the Renekton with my ultimate. And to explain it a little bit better, I put myself in front of the Renekton in order to be able to knock him back using the E. So the E served a double purpose by applying a new challenge to somebody else and getting me in front of the Renekton to be able to knock him back and keep him in place so we can bash his brains in. So, with that said, my team is pushing towers now and decimating the enemy team. Our early fuck-up was grandiose and disturbing, and the enemy Jarvan did gank Kennen a few times, causing him to lose a little bit. However, the Kennen recovered and gracefully teleported to the enemy blue during a crucial team fight and helped win that. And that team fight set the entire game in motion towards our favor. Right now, as I said, I'm building super tanky. I can deal damage without tank items, especially considering the fact that I'm way ahead of my enemies, both in level and in gold. So we initiate, we tower dive them, we start stabbing the living crap out of them, we kill Renekton, in comes Caitlyn, fails to kill the cannon, and then just gets destroyed by the rest of us. That was kind of a wasted flash, wouldn't you agree? My team chases down Jarvan and finishes them off as well. We just tower dive Brand and the Taric, finishing them both off under their tower. So that's an enemy ace. We are able to get this tower, push it down, and then push down the next tower as well. The only one that will spawn is Renekton and then Caitlyn shortly after. We'll be able to get this inhibitor as well. Ezreal is going to stick around a little too much, and it's going to get constantly attacked and barraged when I try to defend him using my ultimate, hoping that he would escape. But he gets caught by Brand and gets dealt a major amount of damage, and he dies. So now we're forced to run away because we don't have one of our massive damage dealers. However, the enemy team really can't, mount a counterattack, so they're going to try to force a Baron, which is going to be a bad idea. We have it warded, and we have a cannon with teleport. Sona shows up, uses her ultimate, and cannon comes in and blasts them all to hell. They bail, but the majority of them die. Well, the majority that were in the Baron pit die. Then my team follows up. We take the Baron, and we finish off Jarvan, Taric, and then Brand, and then we chase down Caitlyn and the Renekton. The Renekton will get to escape, but Caitlyn is trapped, and Caitlyn will be destroyed by me and the Orianna, along with the Sona. Though that was just very poor decision making from the Caitlyn. We wiped out three of their team and took Baron. Now we have a massive lead. Because of this, I buy Warmog's armor. This is a rare item you would not purchase at a lot of junglers, or a lot of characters for that matter at this point anymore. However, it is a very strong item on Xin Zhao for the fact that he gets a massive steroid boost from his ultimate, and for the fact that I have a lot of level to make it work. Thanks to my high level, and my steroid boost from my ultimate, and the fact that the enemy team has nowhere near the capability to deal so much damage, I will fucking never die. My resistances will be very high, and so will my health. With that said, the next item I would have considered purchasing was Spirit Visage. And after that, after the Spirit Visage, I would have purchased an Atlas Impaler to actually make use of all the health I have. It is not the best of items, however, it is kind of, reasonable considering the amount of health I have right now, and the very little damage they can do. My resistances would be ridiculously high, and of course a little bit of overkill too, but at least I'm unkillable, and I'll be forced to, I'll be forcing them to use all their CC on me before I slaughter them myself. I could pretty much take down 1v1 any one of their team members. So I myself am a massive threat, and making myself tankier is a smart idea. Of course, if I had to win damage, I would have been able to annihilate a lot of them, but their team has ridiculous amounts of crowd control, so that would have been a terrible idea. Even if I got fed, which I technically did, despite having a really terrible early game and really stupid decision making, we were able to come back thanks to, being at the right place at the right time as Xin Zhao, spotting the fact that they were going to go for a gank and countering a lot of their ganks, or showing up after their gank has failed. Anyways, hooray for Xin Zhao.